The Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, the 10th chapter.
Glory to you, Lord.
Now as they went on their way, Jesus entered a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, so she came to him and asked, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her." The Gospel of the Lord. A few days ago, my wonderful, dear, sweet husband texted me, "I am so glad you got a break at the beach. I had just been to Ocean City with Maddie and my friend Tammy for a few days, and it was great fun, and I am lucky to have the freedom to go. But if you have ever vacationed with a toddler, it does not qualify as a break." I knew that his intent was support and acknowledgement of all that I'm trying to juggle, but I fired back via text. In case you don't know, I should say here that my husband is currently on a work assignment on the other side of the world. He has been there for the past 7 weeks, and we have 5 more to go. And so I wasn't at my best. I was tired, and I'm pretty sure that if I heard "Mommy" call to me one more time, I was just going to lay down and die. I had come back from the beach to find ants all over the kitchen counters. They had apparently hit the jackpot when they found an open box of Raisin Bran, and they told all their outlaws and in-laws and bylaws where that Raisin Bran was. The bathroom sink was clogged, and the half bottle of Drano that I poured down the drain was not going down the drain. So then I had a sink full of the toxic corrosive known as Drano. The roof on our house is currently being replaced because it's been leaking. And one of the roofers put his foot through the ceiling in my living room. Yes, the actual ceiling. The flat roof needed replaced that badly that it was just rotting out. The AC unit in the townhouse that we own and rent out started leaking, and in the process ruined drywall and carpeting. And the management company kept calling me and emailing me for me to approve the replacement of compressors and new traps, and who knows, this is beyond my pay grade. And Maddie is potty training. So at any given moment, I was sopping up urine or feces off the floor or off Maddie or off myself. And so I was mad, and I was unable to focus on anything fully. I knew that I was dropping balls left and right, not paying enough attention to anyone, barely getting my homework done for this master's program I'm in, missing appointments, and my calendar was a disaster. And yet, no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't seem to manage it all. And so, I started to clean, because this is what I do. I don't know why it helps me, but I feel as if I've gained some mastery and control over my life when the house is in some semblance of order. Because then my internal system calms down and some type of peace is returned to the universe. And whatever is bothering me is blunted somewhat. Mess is also a distraction for me. It is a constant reminder of everything that I have left undone. And so I felt like to tackle everything that kept arising, I at least needed my house to be clean. So after gathering the trash from the kitchen and the bathrooms and all the dead ants, I opened the front door with my head still foggy, my anxiety still plaguing my mind, and still feeling quite alone and overwhelmed. And as I stepped onto the front porch, something in my subconscious made my foot stop falling. Just centimeters from my foot was a dead mouse. I mean, of course there's a dead mouse on my foot. I actually think it might have been a dead baby rat, but somehow mice seem more sanitary than rats. Regardless, my cat Mumford had brought me a dead rodent as a present. And all I could think was how perfectly appropriate. Because right now, at any given moment, I am basically 2 centimeters from stepping on the proverbial dead rat and ending up with its inside smushed all over my foot. So the text, "I'm so glad you got a break at the beach," was utterly incongruent with my reality. And the hot, salty tears that were burning in the brims of my eyes just started to fall. I wanted to fling that dead rat out into the universe to express my disgruntlement with life. Now, of course, I refrained because I didn't figure that dead rat guts on my hands were going to help the situation any. And I feel like Martha, she didn't have any dead rats in her modest dwelling. She probably kept them all at bay. Because right now, Martha is pretty much my spirit animal. Often, Mary is held up as the righteous example in this story, and Martha is admonished for not pausing and sitting with Jesus. Martha gets it wrong, and Mary gets it right. But I get Martha. I sympathize with her, and I think we need to recognize, or maybe this is my internal bias, but I think we need to recognize that she's not just puttering around in the kitchen, but rather she's trying to manage anxiety and stress and all of these expectations. She is overwhelmed at serving Jesus and his entourage. She's trying to do everything right, hold it all together, be a good host. However, nobody seems to see how much she is struggling and how alone she feels in all of it. She is reeling between tasks, trying to respond well to what Jesus and the universe has put before her. And I just want to give her a shout out. I see you, girl. I feel you. Because I am falling apart over ants on the counter, urine on the floor, and my husband being 7,500 miles away. At least Jesus hasn't plopped himself on the couch in my living room under the hole in the ceiling with drywall dust falling onto his head. Had Jesus said to me, "Honey, you are worrying about too many things. There is need of only one thing," I might have flunked the dead rat at him. Because that probably would have been worse than "I'm glad you got a break." I mean, what is that one thing? Mightn't it have been cleaning up the carcass on the welcome mat? That might actually be the better thing for me than taking a breather. Because had I sat down without dealing with all of these varied catastrophes, I would have silently been compiling a to-do list in my head with the number one thing being buy a new house. Because my anxiety was knocking the loudest. I felt like I needed to focus my attention on getting that under control. And I actually think that Jesus would have agreed that this was necessary. But doing so meant that for the moment, I missed the care my husband was trying to offer. I missed playing Legos with Maddie. I missed sitting and laughing at the absurdity of all of it, all of which may have soothed my heart too. However, I wasn't able to shift my focus. And I think this is why Jesus steps in when Martha insists that Mary is shirking her obligations. I believe that Jesus knows Martha is panicking, and I think he's trying to help her see another way to find some internal peace. Mary is entitled to sit and talk and pray and let the ants eat the raisin bran and leave the rat to decay in the sun if that's what she needs to settle her internal universe and connect with God. Because the irony in this story applies to everyone, whether you identify with Mary or with Martha. What you focus on determines what you miss. There are no two ways about it. It is impossible to focus on everything that is offered to us throughout each day. Mary's needs are different than Martha's. The tension arises when the needs of the other aren't honored and validated. And while Martha was restoring some order to her world, she wasn't getting her better need met, to which I can totally relate. I can't be my own savior no matter how hard I try. I actually think that Mary and Martha yearn for the same one thing: to be understood, to be seen, to be valued and appreciated. It doesn't tell us what Mary or Martha did after Jesus cut in. The story just stops there. But I believe that Mary learned a bit about Martha's needs, and that Martha learned a bit about Mary's. Hopefully, they learned that they have need of one another. Because having someone in this crazy, chaotic world that gets you and sees you, it is the one thing that really does bring healing and solace to our wearied souls. And maybe that person will even clean up the dead rat for you so you can go sit down. And that person might remind you that you really are okay and doing just fine. You don't have to keep the universe spinning. Somebody else has that all under control. And I do want to say before I wrapped up, or the Martha and me want you to know that my house might be a little messy again, but the mouse is gone, and so are these.